Yeah. Am I audible? Yeah. Good morning, ma. So we are with any doubts so far? You didn't give us anything to read. Yeah. What is the? Yeah, you can. Because in modern times, it shuffles. Mercantilism is a precursor to capitalism. So first mercantilism, then capitalism. Don't you think gradually, when industries become more and profit earning capacity gets more, don't you think it will become like mercantile capitalism? Then it will give birth to. Then again, capitalism will be instituted for mercantilism. So are you getting it? Supports each other. But with chronology, it's first mercantilism, then mercantile capitalism, then capitalism. Chronology. Yeah. Till 1991, this plays a significant role. Yeah. Yeah. Na. When was French Revolution? 1789. When was Industrial Revolution? 1750. But nothing is sudden. So some things will start in 1700. So this 50 years, it was slowly that organized change happened. Boom. That's what I told you in 1733 itself. John Kay, flying shuttle. Remember, ma, because trial and error method. Anything you start, your exam is in 2024. For some, it's 2025. You prepare in 2022, 2023. Are you getting it? It will take time. And this is the period where 1700, the world itself was having a shift in the monarchy. Look at India, ma, we had Aurangzeb. 1700, Aurangzeb was a Mughal ruler. He died in 1707. So getting it. So we go with chronology only. Are you getting? But when you look at Industrial Revolution, it goes till when? 1850. Getting it? But when does French Revolution come to an end? 1799. Worst case with the fall of Napoleon, 1850. So can we say French Revolution, this is FR, this is IR. So don't you think a French Revolution is a revolution inside a revolution? But this is economic, this is political. But this one did affect this. This one will affect American Revolution. So IR affected India also, because by raw material. Yeah, getting it? We have to touch French Revolution, na? Once I touch the topic, I will tell you. Don't worry, we'll start from A. We'll go till Z. I'll take you, I'll drop you till Z, I'll say bye, I'll leave. So don't worry, we are going to do everything. So I believe in, teaching separately. I don't put everything together because suddenly I talk about Japan, you'll be like, where's Japan? I generally don't do that. My classes of history will never be like that. Even when I teach ancient medieval, I teach North India first, then poor South Indians. Are you getting it? So then I come to South India later only, because why it will be difficult when you club all of them together. So we'll do it separately. And once we do it separately, your mind, you yourself will start connecting. Getting that? That's how it is. I'll start connecting the dots. Then you will start thinking. You'll get the answer. So just for few classes. Let me finish IR. Then it'll be easy. Yeah. Where? European market. Britain had two markets. One is Europe, because there was a demand for British goods worldwide. Because she was the first country to produce, maximum number of goods. So Britain was very good in cotton textile. So France, Belgium, Germany, Italy, Austria, Hungary, Spain, Portugal, they all wanted British goods. The second market was her colonies. So for exporting those goods, she wanted transport. I told you necessity is the mother. So now it's cotton. I have lots of cotton. I have lots of cotton cloth. Now what do I do with that? I need to sell it. Where would I sell? So wherever there's a demand. And where there was a demand? Europe. And she's a mother of cotton. IR means cotton. So put yourself. Now what will we do? When you have lots of goods, what you'll do? If I have lots of Kanchipuram silk saree in Tamil Nadu, what I'll do? Start packing it to North India. Are you getting it? So I'll start. Are you getting it? If you have a business trade, and what is there in the blood of every Britisher? Inside the blood of every Britisher, there's something called trade. You open a Britisher, it's like you open Hanuman, Ram is inside. You open a Britisher, who's inside? Trade is inside. Trade, capitalism, mercantilism, capitalism. Clive, have you heard Robert Clive? Getting my Dalhousie. Look at all of them, what they've done to India. Come what may, trade. And but that third, we use a philosophical term for trade called what? Mercantilism. So are you getting it? So this is what you tear an Indian? Hospitality, generosity. But we are very good. We're not bad. Look at some faces. No, we are actually Indian. Take any records of the world and look at how they've expressed about Indians. You'll be flying. We don't know history. That's why we are sitting like this. We're like, once you know your history, you'll be like, come on. Are you getting, we can say, China, what's this? Go study your history and come. Are you getting America? Don't talk too much. Go study your history and come. But today, you know your history. That's what Hitler said. When Hitler was asked, why are you so aggressive? Why are you like this? Because Hitler is one of the bad boy. I call him bad boy, bad man, very cruel. But he said, I'm like this because I studied the history of Germany. After studying the history of my country, I lost my sleep. I couldn't sleep. Why? Because Hitler was a nationalist, aggressive nationalism. It was very aggressive. My Germany, I will make my Germany as a superpower. You come in between, I'll thrash you. So some people have that feel, you know. So they're called as nationalists. At times it takes you to a positive point. At times it takes you to a negative point as well. So either ways. So clear? Anyone stuck with something? With IR? IR is my industrial revolution. Yeah, shall we go? So a small brief about industrial revolution. So a small brief about industrial revolution. So this industrial revolution, as I told you, what are the questions we generally get here? Yeah. So IR, you didn't write anything, right? I did not make you to write anything. 1850. So when you look at this industrial revolution, again, the span of 100 years, the first one is background. As I told you, age of machine, small scale to large scale, hand to machine, then rural to urban. So that you know, I keep on revising it so that you hear me, you don't forget. I keep on repeating it again and again so that my students will hear my voice. All the students will say, ma'am, we hear you in the examination hall. Hear me. Are you getting, because my voice is loud? So you will hear me, you'll keep on thinking that. And the second element, there should be some reason. So the first reason, Britain was very ambitious. Are you getting it? Don't you think we all are ambitious? We all wanted to do something great. So Britain as a monarchy wanted to be a superpower of Europe. Already she was a superpower. Plus she wanted to maintain that superpower. How? She wanted to do something. So that something led to the growth of what? Development of IR. Getting it? And number three, she was supported by, she had everything for a revolution. What is that everything? Money, capital. Number two, time. Number three, she had resources. Number four, she had colonies. So all which was required. So you mix all of them in an equal proportion, a boom, IR is born. So you will get a doubt. As I keep on telling you, other countries in the world did not have them. France was not politically stable. Germany at this point of time was like completely shattered. Italy was an economically backward country at this point of time. Your polity is strong, but what if you don't have money? What if you don't have money? Political system is very strong, but there's no money. You have lots of resources, but no political setup. Look at Africa, dumped with resources, but polity was not strong. So what happened ultimately? Europeans entered Africa, they exploited. That's what yesterday we wrote, colonialism. They will break your social structure. They will break your political structure. They will break your cultural structure. Africans were all tribals. They all were worshipping their ancestors. But what did Europeans say? Jesus is good. Jesus will help you. Be Christian. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. They all became Christians. Cultural hegemony. Are you getting it? Indirectly or directly. You wrote it yesterday. It can happen either way. What did they tell in India? What did they do? In India also they did the same thing. That's why many Indian parents were worried. Why? Because what? The East India Company was coming as a Christian establishment. So all the Indian fathers were worried. Why? Because what? Britishers were promoting Christianity indirectly. So parents were worried. Because the base of Indian at that point of time was Manu Smriti. And Britishers are coming with the tool of Christianity. Parents were worried. So automatically what happened? Don't you think they'll start fighting with the Britishers? So one of the reasons for the revolt of 1857 is the religious cause, cultural cause, military cause, social cause, economic cause, political cause, administrative cause. So don't think, ma'am, this much, small one. Come on, very simple. But if you understand what, write everything, clear your exam, get your marks, go. That's what, everything you have to write it in a structured way. Understanding. Number two, writing it. How to write it. History answers always make points. Make a heading, give point, A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4, or a bullet or a star. Ma'am, I'm not good in points. Okay, make a paragraph, make kuti, small paragraphs, a small paragraph, then the next paragraph. Do whatever you want, but the content is going to be the same. And make sure your handwriting is fine. So when you do all of them, you will get the art of writing soon. Very soon you'll get used to it. So not to worry. Getting it, I keep on telling, because I know as a student, every day I used to worry. Every day I used to sit and think, will I be able to make it? Have I done the right choice? Will I be able to study? Will I clear? Will I do this? So this feel comes every day. No, you're not getting the feel? It's very common. But these are symptoms of UPSC. This feel is very common. At times you'll get a feel. Why am I born? Are you getting it? Have I done the really one thing? Many people have left jobs and come. Don't worry, you want something in life. You've chosen, no regression. Don't regret. It's okay, you've come, you're sitting here. Let the world wait. Just prepare. How to prepare? Revise. That's why we make students' life easier by repeating it again and again. Imagine 1,000 times I'm teaching IR. Are you getting it? 1,000 times, more than 1,000 times. 15 years of teaching. Your batch is, I don't count the number, but I keep on repeating it again. When I started my first class as a teacher, I became a teacher default at a very young age. So when I started my first class at Madras University, IR, age of machine. Are you handmade too? So imagine, so we keep on repeating it. So that's why we teachers know things. Why? Because we do that again and again. So likewise, when you also keep revising it again and again, it'll get stuck. So tomorrow someone asks you IR, you will tell them, at least you'll brief them. You should have the capacity to make others understand. That is education. So knowledge is something you keep it inside. Education is what? You spread it to others. You keep it to yourself, you'll not grow. Share, study, share your resources, share everything. Don't be selfish to keep everything inside. You'll not grow. And if you keep one thing inside, no, I don't believe in that. I always believe there's nothing to hide. In schools, we'll be like, it's my notes, I will only keep it, my homework. I think that Indian pattern, no, I will not give. I didn't study at all, but we'll study. This field is not like that. You have to be very open. You have to be very honest. You have to be very transparent. Transparent. Did you study? Yes or no? No, ma'am, I didn't study. Why? Something happened. Okay, it's okay, you start tomorrow. So you should have that mentality. Your attitude plays a very, very important role in this exam. So keep it light, keep it simple. So this is what is about IR. So the reasons is Britain, number 2. The third one we are going to study, why in Britain? I told you 10 points. Yesterday I briefed you. Geography, for a Protestantism, you can shuffle the points. Absolute monarchy, capital, colonialism, availability of raw material, skilled laborers, education, Harvard, able to recall? Getting it? Then we have great inventors. So all of them, Britain was supported by everything. What is required for an IR? She had everything. And that is why the boom happened. And seeing her, many countries adopted IR. Say for example, Belgium was the first country after Britain to follow industrial revolution. I told you all the machines were patented. So tomorrow imagine you're Belgium, I'm Britain. Now you're telling me, ma'am, I want your machine. What will I say? Give money. I will come. So you pay me my money. I will come to you. I will install my machine to you. Getting because I've patented it. So now you will have washing machine. You will have mixie. Same our example. You will have a grinder. So you will make chutney. You'll eat. Are you getting? Then again France. The next country, France. The next country, Italy. The next country, Austria, Hungary. So they all started tasting it. When did IR come to India? You may have that doubt. When did we take it? There was a Governor General called Lord Dalhousie. Have you heard Dalhousie? So again, a small bad person. Are you getting? Because he introduced a policy called Doctrine of Lapse. So you'll do that with your modern India. So when Dalhousie was there at India, as a Governor General of India, he thought, why can't I introduce Industrial Revolution in India? That is why we call him as the father of Industrial Revolution in India. So have you heard Dalhousie laid roads? The first railway track came up because with transport and communication. From India, all the goods needs to go to Europe. From Tamil Nadu, all the goods need to come to UP. From UP, goods need to go to Takshila. How? You need a railway route. And the capital was Calcutta. So goods from Calcutta had to come to Bombay. From Bombay, it has to go on a sea. Getting it? So how will goods go? Okay, develop communication. Now I need to talk to each other. I need to communicate. Telegraph system. I need to take my goods without a jolt. Because Indian roads are not the perfect road. Look at our geography. We have that rugged geography. You can't take a bullock cart and just like that go. Your goods all will fall down. So what happened? I make the concept of road. Tar. You know gravel, taking small stones, crushing it, putting it on the road, then pouring tar into it, then level it, road. Even today we do that. It's called macadamizing. Getting it, civil engineers will know it. Macadamizing of road. Because who invented it? There was a person called John McAdam. So John McAdam introduced the concept of making strong and sturdy roads in Britain. So all cities in Britain were well connected. London, Oxford, getting it, Liverpool, Manchester, all great cities were connected. So when cities are connected with road, travel becomes easy. My goods will not fall. Getting it? So everywhere. So they're thinking about that. So when Britain is connecting herself with road, now Belgium, the next countries are thinking, why can't me? So don't you think man is a copycat? So we tend to borrow that. So entire Europe is becoming industrialized. So leave America now, leave Japan now, leave Russia now, leave China now. I'm teaching you only Europe now. The moment I touch those countries, I will tell you how industrial revolution happened. Your modern day teacher will tell you with Dalhousie how IR entered India, what all happened. So dams were constructed during his period. So now what Britain is thinking, let me construct a bridge. Have you heard the London Bridge? This time only. Have you heard a poem? The London Bridge is falling down. First time they built, it fell down. So someone is saying, hey, falling down, poem. Are you getting it? It was built during this period. So, and it is which material? What is the material it was used? Iron. Iron was a material. Have you seen? But don't give me these looks. Are you getting? Have you seen London Bridge? Are you getting it? And that inspiration was in Calcutta. We built a simple man is a copycat. We just alter it. We just alter it accordingly. So why the bridge came up during this time? Because they wanted bridges. Why? The river Thames is moving on. I can't walk. So what do? Bridge. I move. Necessity. So that I go stand in the bridge. And if the bridge is taller, I can see the river. I can jump, that's secondary. Are you getting? But first thing is what? Are you getting? First thing is like I see. That's why bridge is. And look at the bridge, how big, how, are you getting? How durable? Because many times the bridge fell down. That's why the poem. Then later, oh no, the bridge should not fall down. Everyone are mocking. If there was a troll person, he would have trolled it then. Are you getting? They would have made memes. Getting? But at that time, these concepts were all not there. So what happened? They made strong bridge. So they should know drilling. Are you getting? They should know concrete. They should know how a bridge should stand durable. They should know to design a bridge. So all these are coming up here. So can we say bridge comes under the concept of transport? Are you getting it, ma? So transport. First one cotton. Second one power. Third one transport. Fourth one communication. So they all developed. So this is what slowly it's happening. But don't it took 100 years. It went on till here also. The moment it crosses 1815, we go to stage number 2. Now it is stage number 1. Then we have the next one, stage 3. Today we are in stage 4. Yeah, someone had a doubt?
Ma'am, if we go chronology wise, ma'am, glorious revolution happened in 1688.
1688. That's not there in our syllabus.
Industrial revolution happened in 1750. So ma'am, absolute monarchy converts into constitutional monarchy.
Monarchy, yeah, after the revolution. It didn't turn, ma. Constitutional monarchy was there. But who was still supreme? That is what yesterday someone asked. Still the monarchy is supreme. So if you go with the hierarchy of British system, first crown, then parliament. It's not parliament and crown. You hope you're getting it?
So ma'am, crown became the golden zero na in glorious revolution.
Yeah.
So we, instead of absolute monarchy, we should go for constitutional monarchy.
No, we don't write it. Why? Still the crown was absolute.
But it had no powers, no?
Yeah, it had powers, na?
No,
The
power
final
shifted
authority power, the crown can decide. See, how was the parliament working? The parliament was working in consultation with the crown. Are you getting it? And with due respect, when the crown understands the parliament, something is passed. But in whose name? Who seals it? Crown. And that changes only by 1800. Are you getting it? By 1800, what happened? The parliament becomes very strong because there was internally a problem at Britain. And when weak rulers started coming, who will take dominance? Parliament. Are you getting? Now who's strong? Now, with this topic, who's strong? The crown is strong. It's like, a check and a balance. But the system comes with Montesquieu, separation of powers. But still now they don't know that because it's all going hand in hand. So this is what is the idea. See, everything keeps changing because when Akbar ruled India, the policies were different. The moment his grandson came, great-grandson Aurangzeb came, the policies were totally different. But when we write about Mughal administration, what do we write? The king was the ultimate head. Are you getting it? So we don't do individual. So that is for optional students, what you say. We write exactly separately. Here it's just one topic. Clear?
Ma'am, how Protestants or what is the role of Protestants in industrial revolution?
See, Protestants were encouraging it, number one. Why? Because IR promoted scientific inquiry. And when energy was taken from the English channel, water energy, people started producing it. So they started using the natural resources. Protestants welcomed it. And Catholics were seeing it little bit. They were slightly backward now.
Orthodox.
France was a Catholic nation. So France initially couldn't digest. Acho, what is this? You're doing something. Are you getting? Because why? Age of reason is questioning what? God. Age of reason is questioning religion. But now what happened? The scientific temperament is coming. If you ask my mother, example, if it's rain, if I ask my mother till today, because my mother, a typical rural mother, so I ask her, Amma, why is it raining? Lord Shiva is angry. She says that, see, today it's raining, Delhi, it's got rain because Lord Indra is angry or Indra is happy, but she'll say angry. So if you ask me, I'll say there is a cloud called cumulonimbus. And because of July, why does Delhi gets rain during the month of July? If you know your geography, that's my knowledge, science. Though I believe in God, but when it rains, science. Are you getting? So there are two interpretations. So who's backward here, me or my mother? You can't plead ignorance, right? You can't say, I don't know. Getting it must, so for them, the satisfaction is God. For me, it's science. So Protestants were encouraging science more. So when I know this concept, don't you think I'll start writing more theories? So which means I will develop. My mother will still be backward. Suddenly she does a puja. There's a big heavy pour. Her faith will double. She will say, hey, Indra is with me only. She will double. So automatically what happened? But these two divisions started coming. That is why you see in modern India, socio-religious reform movement. If you take that process, the Hindu religious reform movement was growing faster. But the Islamic religious movement was growing slower. It was not growing. It was still backward. Why? Because religion did not give them. Are you getting? Islam was slightly backward at that point of time. So are you getting much? So when people who are very much into religion, particularly that conservatism, the growth will be, it will not be fast. So Protestant countries were growing. Germany at this point of time was half Catholic, half Protestant, 50-50. So what happened? One part of the Germany was growing like anything. The other part of Germany was not growing. Why? Because religion played a very important role. Clear, ma? Yeah. Shall we write? Yeah, take down. The first one, industrial, exercise your hands. You're going to write lots because I've taught you yesterday about everything. So we're going to put all of them. Yeah, exercise your hands. Yeah, all. Do it. Yeah. If hands are paining, hold it here, right. Or hold it here, right. Or hold it here, right. Don't get angry and telling, are you getting it? Then I will also do that. Getting it? So take down. We are going to be a little bit faster. Be a little bit faster. If you're stuck with spellings, let me know. But make sure you write it. Make sure you keep writing it. If you're concentrated, your flow of writing would be not stopped. When do people stop a teacher? Telling ma'am, because you're thinking about something. So just be with me, and when you write, study. So this is your first revision. What you're going to write is your first revision. Clear? Take down, ma. The Industrial Revolution. So that's the introduction. The Industrial Revolution. According to historians, the Industrial Revolution, according to historians, is considered to be the age of machines. According to historians, is considered to be the age of machines. Age of machines. It approximately began, it means IR, it approximately began around 1700. It approximately began in 1700 AD, and it approximately began for 50 years before, approximately began in 1700 AD, and gradually began to influence and dominate, and gradually began to influence and dominate the entire world. Gradually began to influence and dominate the entire world. Yeah. In the global context, continue. When I make a paragraph, I'll tell you. In the global context, Industrial Revolution caused a shift in the global context, comma, IR caused a shift in the balance of power. In the balance of power. Caused a shift in the balance of power in favor of the Europeans. In favor of the Europeans. It also increased the gap. It also increased the gap and created inequalities. It also increased the gap and created inequalities among nations. Because one nation is growing, one nation is poor. It also increased the gap and created inequalities among the nations. So underline balance of power, underline inequalities, underline balance of power. One country is big, one country is small. So countries are politically getting bigger. Look at some states, they're very strong. Look at some states still developing. Look at some state, they're like infrastructure, transport, everything is good. Look at one state, still roads are not there. So don't you think when I come from that state, what will I think? Look at Maharashtra, how big. Are you getting, look at their road. If I'm coming from a rural state, are you getting it? We have that in India. Don't say no, you have to know. So now Europe is becoming that. Next paragraph. The Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution was born at Britain. The Industrial Revolution was born at Britain. And she is considered to be, underline Britain, and she is considered to be the most powerful country, and often she is considered to be the most powerful country and often addressed as the mother of Europe. Often addressed as the mother of Europe. Yeah. Mother of Europe. Industrial Revolution, you can write IR. Put IR, examiner will know. First, you know what you should do? Write Industrial Revolution when you begin. Just write Industrial Revolution. And put it in bracket, IR. Then here after, once you write this, then afterwards you can write only IR. You can have it so that you save your space. Instead of writing Industrial Revolution, you can use this, but this is allowed. So next paragraph, Industrial Revolution, which occurred and shaped, Industrial Revolution which occurred and shaped the entire European system. Industrial Revolution which occurred and shaped the entire European system was a phase, P-H-A-S-C, was a phase where rural elements turned urban, was a phase where rural elements turned urban, small scale became large scale setups. So small scale became large scale setups, cottage factories turned to be industries, cottage factories, or you write cottage industries, here put factories. If you write factory here, put industry here. If you write industry here, put factory here. Shuffle it. Don't write the same thing, cottage industry. Just shuffle it. Cottage factories turned to industries. And finally, handmade objects became machine-made objects. And finally, handmade objects became machine-made objects. Yeah. Britain, full stop, continue. Britain, with her accumulation of wealth, decided to encourage mercantilism with her accumulation of wealth, decided to encourage mercantilism and promote capitalism. And promote capitalism. Yeah, capitalism. Being an ambitious nation, being an ambitious nation, and being an ambitious nation and a mother for majority of the colonies, being an ambitious nation and a mother for majority of the colonies, began to establish, mother for majority of the colonies, began to establish her strong foothold, began to establish her strong foothold in the European markets, began to establish her strong foothold in the European markets through IR, began to establish a strong foothold through industrial revolution, full stop. Getting it? So this is the shift. Make a next small side heading, reasons for industrial revolution. That's a subheading. So it should be 1A. Chapter is 1. So it should be 1A. We've written the introduction. Reasons for IR. Under that, there were two major reasons. There were two major reasons for the entry of industrial revolution. There were two major reasons for the entry of industrial revolution at Europe. Entry of industrial revolution at Europe. Number one, the ambitious policies of Britain. So the first one, the ambitious policies of Britain. I told you, she was very ambitious. She wanted to maintain that status quo. She wanted to continue that. She always wanted to be the mother. She always wanted to be rich. She always wanted to be the supplier. So that was there. And for this ambition, something should support. She had plenty of raw materials by herself. And she had politically, she was very strong. So everything contributed for IR. So under this, Britain, as mentioned above, Britain, as mentioned above, was the superpower of Europe. We already know that. Britain, as mentioned above, was the superpower of Europe. She was influenced by her subjects. She was influenced by her subjects, possessed a strong parliament. She was influenced by her subjects, possessed a strong parliament and was blessed with tremendous resources. Resources. She was also supported by the traders. She was also supported by the traders, the merchants, the scientists and the inventors. To contribute. She was also promoted by merchants, traders, scientists, inventors to contribute for the growth of Britain. Contribute to the growth of Britain. Yeah. This led to the beginning of the era of machines. This led to the beginning of the era of the machines. To maintain her balance of power, she began to support, to maintain her balance of power, she began to support the inventors and her scientists. To maintain her balance of power, she began to support the inventors and her scientists. Gradually, by 1730s, gradually by 1730s, put 1730s, gradually by 1730s, machines entered Britain. I told you the first machine is 1733. So getting it? So gradually by 1730s, the first machine entered Britain. So that ambition, hope you're getting it, that's the first. To be on the safer side, we're writing it. Number 2, availability of raw materials. That's a second reason for IR. I have lots. I don't know what to do with that. Let me create something. So under this, that's a heading, availability of raw materials. Under this, Britain was a nation blessed with natural resources. Britain was a nation blessed with natural resources. The demand of raw materials in Europe, made Britain to create a market zone. The demand for raw materials in Europe made Britain to create a market zone, which in turn gave birth to finished products, This element gradually made Britain to proceed and continue. This element gradually made Britain to proceed and continue. The demand and supply. Proceed and continue the demand and supply. Yeah. A British good was always on demand in the European markets. A British good was always on demand in the European markets. So, colonialism. British goods were always on demand in the European markets. So, colonialism paved way for it. She possessed the maximum number of colonies. Than any other nations. Also contributed for the supply of raw materials. And markets. Supply of raw materials and markets. Thus, these two were the major two reasons. Which directly forced Britain, not indirectly, directly. Thus, these two were the major two reasons which directly forced Britain to focus on her growth, through IR. As mentioned, an economic revolution. Took place As mentioned, an economic revolution took place with a positive note. As mentioned, underline economic revolution. As mentioned, an economic revolution took place with a positive note. It's a positive one, not a negative one. So we are with a positive note, not negative. I told you yesterday it was peaceful. Yeah. So we are done with the reasons. So this is what you're going to write. Small introduction. Why? If they ask you, always see the demand. If they don't ask you reason, don't write it. Getting it? Now this will be the next side heading. Why IR was born at Great Britain. You can write Great Britain, you can write Britain, getting it, or England. I'll tell you that. Why? Or you can write why in Britain, question mark. However you frame it, content is this. Why was IR born in Britain? Or why in England? Getting it? So, shall we go? I told you 10 points. We're going to write it, all the 10 points. So, it's 1B. So, under 1B, we're going to make another subheading. Don't write it. It'll be 1. As I told you yesterday, geography. Hope you're getting it. This part was asked in one of the previous year questions. If you look at it, very simple. So, getting it, what were the reasons for Britain to invent or to have IR? 12.5 mark. Just vomit this part. If you understand, you write it. Make points. But when you make points, don't you think it will become repetitive? When you write geography, put all geography inside that. When you write skilled labor, put everything. I told you yesterday, London's population was more. Remember I told you? Than Paris, the population of London was more. So what will I do with my population? See, today, the government is worried or not worried about the population? Worried about the population because the population growth is more. But it is the duty of the government to generate employment. Getting it by conduct. That's why we have lots of government exams coming. Getting it. So it's a duty of the government to create some opportunity. But don't you think private partnership is also there? Private companies are also existing. So population is more. So automatically it is a duty of the government to employ them, either directly or indirectly. So likewise, when population is getting more, automatically what happened? When the government doesn't provide you any opportunity, now it's not agrarian. Now it's becoming industries. It's not rural. It's become urban. Getting it? And the country is growing big. And imagine when you are in a country where the country is ranked 1, how will you feel? If India is the first superpower of the world, how will we all feel? Proud. Don't you think, won't we fly? If we are the first best country, don't you think, get a feel? You have to feel it. When you study history, feel it. Don't just study for the sake of marks. Study for life, study for knowing things, and then mark. Of course, you are here for marks. But when you don't understand and visualize and study, theoretical part cannot help you. So you'll always be very much into high. We'll have a proud moment. And imagine all Indians are educated. There's no poverty in India. There's no hunger in India. There's no unemployment in India. How will India be? Super. One line. Superb. It'll be superb. How will you feel? Personally, what feel will you get? If we are ranked 1, we are going to have it. Don't worry. Like I used to tell my husband, because I'm going to be a teacher till the age of 80, 90, I'm going to be a teacher. I used to tell him, I'll take a stick and I'll go to my classes and I will teach. He's like, why stick, Kritika? You're a superwoman, so you'll be walking only. I'm like, okay, come what may. I used to tell him, there will be a day in world history, I would teach my optional kids, India, a superpower. Don't you think that's something? It's going to happen. My thoughts are very strong. I used to tell him in a funny way also. We have only 2 world wars. I used to tell him in a funny way, the 3rd World War, I'll be teaching. He's like, Kritika, come on. And causes, America. Cause for the 3rd World War, China. Cause, Korea. Getting it? An impact. Whenever I teach the 1st World War, first time I write the impact, America developed as a superpower. Whenever I write that, I'm like, okay, go. America developed as a superpower. My heart will be like, But but we write. But when I teach the 2nd World War, impact, America and USSR developed as a global power. Because that's how we write. Now, multipolar world entered. Then I used to tell my husband, when I write the 3rd World War, impact, India emerged as a superpower. So he'll be like, let's see. Because when you look at this situation, when you look at how the world is going to go for the next 20 years, when you predict, when you visualize, the war is not going to be there. Maybe, my thoughts are not strong for the war. But my thoughts are very strong that we are going to be a superpower. We are going to be a global power because we are one of the biggest, largest adult population. Getting it, so we are extremely knowledgeable. Indians, every 6th person in the world is an Indian. I think you know that. every sixth person in the world is an Indian. And predominantly all topmost positions in the world are held by Indians only. Why, ma? Why? So brain drain, leave the other negatives, but go with positives. Indians are always valued high, and Indian education is always seen high. And that is why we say the only country, again mark my words, the only country which still continues and cherishes its history, it's India only. That's why we say Indian culture and heritage. We use the term heritage. Many countries have dropped their history. Europe is not studying the same European history. The kids are not studying. China is not studying the Chinese Revolution. Look at their syllabus. They don't have it. Egypt has lost its civilization and the history what they had before. But we are the only country where still we talk about all our past. And still we cherish it. And still we own it. We own it. What was there in Indus Valley is still there with us. We own it. We are like, come on, it's mine. Are you getting it? It's mine. I'm not able to give it. So that is what we say always something, a country will grow. Plus population is something very important. And when a country stabilizes it, when the country helps the population to grow, a country is always called as what? A superpower in the concept of what? Resources. Whenever we say resources, don't plainly go with economic resources also. Don't you think people are also a resource? Are you getting it? Our brain, the activity, what we do, and how I contribute for the growth of nation is also a resource. Whenever we say corruption, it's not only economic corruption, it's not only about money. Don't you think there's something called mental corruption also? Mentally also I can corrupt you. That's what? Indirectly I can tell you. Getting it? That's what yesterday we said, Someone asked me day before yesterday, ma'am, how do you corrupt a brain? Are you getting it by telling you that your culture is not good, only my culture is good, and taking control of those countries? That is also a kind of a colonialism. So that comes as what? Neo-colonialism. That's new colonialism. Today I don't control the land, but I control the ruler. I control the leader. The leader does whatever I want him to do or her to do. Don't you think many countries are like puppets? Though they are looking sovereign, but don't you think indirectly they're controlled by the superpowers, the big five? They control, no? Don't you think? Pakistan is being controlled by whom? China. Are you getting it? It's like, I call it in a funny way, baby child. I used to say Pakistan's, China's baby is whom? China's baby is Pakistan. So how will the mother treat the baby? The baby tries to cry. The mother will be like, hey, don't cry, I'll bombard India. Are you getting? Because the baby is crying. So when you understand it like that, baby child 1. Then we have baby child 2. So we have a list. When you know all the baby childs of China, you'll be like, oh, what is this? We are surrounded by enemies only. Are you getting? But don't worry, ma, we are the special child of God. India is a super child, special child of God. Are you getting? So we have some traits, but our traits is inside. Why? No first use policy. Our policies are totally perfect, very different. No negative. Students will say, ma'am, this happened. Our prime, no. Positive. You're going to work with the government of India? Will you blame government of India? You're writing an exam with government of India. Will you say India is bad? India, what you're doing is, no. Tomorrow you're going to be civil servants. You have to support us. Come what may. You have to be. And you're not writing an exam for Republic TV. Are you getting it? You're writing an exam for government of India. So you should never pull India down. You should never pull leaders down. You should never pull the parliament down. Don't criticize leaders, national leaders, freedom fighters, rulers. You are never ever supposed to do that in your exam. Don't criticize. Who are we to criticize? It's our ruler. Come what may, they've done something. We are not bothered about that. We can't be judgmental. Who am I to criticize Ashoka? Come on. Who am I to criticize a prime minister? Because these are institutions and we always see them as sacred. Don't you think? The seat is something very important. The chair is something very special. People come and go. The king is dead. Long live the king. People come and go. But the institution is something. The chair has got some respect. The chair has got some power. The chair carries a legacy. The chair can be anyone's chair. So we always see that only. So you should never make the chair come down. And you're writing an exam with government. So always support it. Never. That's why I keep on telling no negativity. So Britain wanted to fulfill her choices to the people. She wanted to use her resources. And that comes when? Because her blood is full of trade. Mercantilism is her with her. When she sleeps also, she'll be like, before going to sleep, I tell students, whenever UPSC preparation people, before going to sleep, I tell all of them, in mentorship, I tell them, you have to read your papers, current affairs, and before going to sleep, do your CSAT. Work on some mathematics, because CSAT is getting tougher now. Do a sum, then go to sleep. So British, how will they go to sleep? Before going to sleep, they'll be like checking trade, mercantilism, capitalism, colonialism, imperialism, done, sleep. Wake up, trade. Are you getting it? So that's there with them. You tear a British, these concepts will all jump and come. So they never go, they never go beyond that, because that is the makeup of them. That is how they are made. So that made part, that's, we call it as what? A country's genetics. So that is actually with them. So now she's coming to do all of them. And no one on earth challenged Britain. Getting it, ma? You would have heard. Britain was never ever defeated. But she was defeated in few wars. Handful of wars, I'm going to tell you that. Getting it? American War of Revolution, American Revolution, Britain was defeated. But after that, you don't see a big defeat of Britain, because she was never defeated. And when will a country not be defeated? If she's a superpower. When she's a superpower, she maintains that superpower status continuously. So don't underestimate her. We will underestimate her after 1991. But before 1991, the first country, the superpower would be Britain. Yeah. So take down under this. Why IR was born in India. Don't write geography. Just a small introduction. Britain possessed all the elements. Britain possessed all the elements for an industrial revolution. She possessed all the elements for an industrial revolution. She had plenty of resources, comma. She had plenty of resources, comma, time. She had plenty of resources, comma, time, comma, capital, comma, raw materials, and a strong political system. And a strong political system. The British Parliament was so strong and sound. The British Parliament was so strong and sound. Parliament was so strong and sound, and always backed, BACKED, and always backed the entire political and administrative setup. Always backed the entire political and administrative setup of Britain. Added to it the loyalty of the subjects. Added to it the loyalty of the subjects and the economic status of Britain. Added to it the loyalty of the subjects and the economic status of Britain also contributed for IR, for the Industrial Revolution. Yeah. Number one, make a small side heading. Number one, geography. So how did geography pave way? Geography. Number one, geography. Under that, Britain, comma, an island. Britain, comma, an island. Never connected with the mainland of Europe. Britain, comma, an island. Never connected with the mainland of Europe. The English Channel was a big barrier. The English Channel was a big barrier. So that no country could enter the mainland of Britain. It was very difficult then to travel. The English Channel was a barrier so that no country could enter the mainland of Britain. She also possessed a long coastline. She also possessed a long coastline. She was isolated. She also possessed a long coastline, because it's an island, right? Coastline, and she was isolated from all the major politics. She was isolated from all the major politics of Europe. So the first point is geography. Small one only, not more than 4 to 5 lines. Number 2, a strong monarchy. Strong monarchy. Yeah, under that. From ancient times, a British monarch was held high. From ancient times, a British monarch was held high. Held high. The crown was head of the government, supported by a parliament. The crown was head of the government. The crown was head of the government, supported by the parliament. Yeah. The House of Lords, LORDS, the House of Lords and the House of Commons. The House of Lords and the House of Commons. Yeah. Were very strong bodies which framed rules and regulations to promote the interest of Britain. To promote the interest, which frame rules and regulations to promote the interest of Britain. Interest of Britain. The strong monarchy was supported by the subjects. The strong monarchy was supported by the subjects. Yeah. Which gave birth to political stability. Supported by the subjects, which gave birth to political stability in Britain for centuries. It gave political stability for Britain for centuries. For many years she was stable. Political stability. So king, parliament, political stability, people's support, everything was there. So there was no problem. The whole world will be fighting. She will be strong. And whatever she says, with the approval of the parliament, or whatever the parliament says will be approved by the king, people will say yes. Because Britain will never go against the interest of the subject. See, there's one phrase of a British parliament. If I tell you this phrase, you'll understand. The phrase is not true. But the phrase is, you'll understand how strong the phrase is and how strong the parliament. The British parliament has got the power to make a man into a woman into a man. In reality, that cannot happen. But she was that powerful, it seems. It's a hypothetical one. But imagine how the parliament can make a man into a woman and a woman into man. So I tell this in Indian context with Chanakya. Chanakya can make a man into a woman into a man. So imagine how Chanakya was powerful. Chanakya can make a dog into a cat into a dog. There it's men, women, here dog and a cat. Are you getting, when Chanakya says tiger, people would say tiger, but there'll be a cow. Have you heard a story? One man will see him, tiger, but there'll be no tiger. Are you getting it? Chanakya was very influential. He was very headstrong. And he had that mesmerizing speeches, When he says something, white crow, people will be like, white crow. Are you getting it? So he was like that. See, today we question that. But then, the acceptance level was like that. So the parliament was super strong. And that's what they say, the parliament can never go wrong. Why? Because it's a body of highly intelligent people. Getting it, House of Lords and Commons come together. And then we don't have British Parliament in detail and all. But this is how we say the strong monarchy. Clear? Number 3. Have you heard this? I'm not made you to write. The Magna Carta. Have you heard the Magna Carta? See, Magna Carta we call that as an, unwritten constitution which entered Britain. But that came up in 1215 AD, very early. Much before 1215 AD is where Magna Carta it came into limelight. And what does Magna Carta have? We call that as an unwritten constitution. It's not written. Nothing is there. We have a written constitution. If I tell you president, I'll say Article 52. If I want to impeach the president, I'll say 61. Don't you think? If I want to pass a bill, I'll take an article. If I say Article 78, okay, collective responsibility. If I say Article 1, we'll say India is a union of state. We know all the articles. We know what is FD, what is FR, What is DPSP? We know where CAG comes, Controller and Auditor General. So we'll say Article 148, he begins. We know all the article. Because why? We have how many? 395 articles and we have 8 schedules. Get it? So we know all of them. So when you look, 22 schedule. When you look at all the schedules and article, we know each and everything. So an Indian should know, but here there's nothing like that. It's oral. It's oral, it's unwritten. Ma'am, then what does Magna Carta have? It has got customs and conventions. So which was there from age-old tradition, from 1215 AD till now, they hold the Magna Carta. So how the Magna Carta will be? It will be like a shield. It will be written 1215 AD. Customs, convention, that's it. So what is one custom? Whatever the king, whatever the crown says, accept it. It's a custom. So what will they do? The crown will say, tomorrow we're going to attack Pakistan. Example? Are you getting it? So what do people say? So there people will not take rallies, people will not put petition, people will not fight telling no democracy, Article 14, Article 16, no, Article 21. No. Tomorrow I'm going to attack. So that's a custom. Why? The king is dead, long live the king. So according to them, whatever the king decides, it's correct. Because the king is supported by a very strong institution called Parliament. So they come like that. So this Magna Carta is also there. So all these are coming together. So they are blind regarding their political system. People, when they wage a war, it's okay, we support. But 2 great world wars, Britain participated. And the people supported her throughout. So why? Because imagine tomorrow when we fight, what will we start doing? Today we are in a democracy. Don't you think we have a voice to raise? We have a chance to talk. You can write. Today we speak to the government. Either we support or we do not support. But at least we have a choice to raise. But here that was not allowed. In monarchy, that system was not there. Because this was supported by the people as well. Number 3. The third reason. Number 3. Religion. Third one, religion. What was the religion, ma? Protestantism. She was a Protestant country. Protestant nation. You can write religion dot Protestant nation. Yeah. No, nothing. See, that's all for politics. We don't want, just know what is there. That's it. So for Protestant nation, under that, Britain, by 1700, adopted Protestantism. Britain, by 1700, adopted Protestantism, which encouraged scientific inquiry. Britain, by 1700, adopted Protestantism, which encouraged scientific inquiry. Yeah. Religion was separated from the state. Religion was separated from the state. Further, religion was separated from the state. Further, it encouraged free trade policy. Further, it encouraged free trade policy. Yeah. Religion did not affect the life of a common man. Religion did not affect the life of a common man. Full stop. Scientific advancements, geographical discoveries, geographical discoveries and inventions were encouraged. Yeah. Encouraged. Protestantism believed in scientific temperament. Protestantism believed in scientific temperament. Yeah. Number 4. The population growth. So the next point, the growth in population. The population growth in the British Empire. You can make it like that. The population growth in the British Empire. Yeah, under that. Britain by 1700 had tremendous population growth. Britain by 1700 had tremendous population growth. The population of London exploded. The population of London exploded from 50,000. The population of London exploded from 50,000 to 2 lakh in 1700 AD. There was a big boom in the population. The population of London exploded from 50,000 to 2 lakh in 1700. With the expansion of trade, and colonialism, this British population was directed towards the colonies. Yeah, more colonies. The growing population further demanded opportunities from the state. The growing population further demanded opportunities from the state. So to meet the demand, the growing population demanded opportunities. We'll ask, na? The growing population demanded opportunities from the state. So to meet their demands, trade policies were created. To meet their demand, the population was seeking more opportunities. So to meet their demand, more trade policies were created, markets were established, and the British natives were sent to the colonies. Further, many of them were employed in the Royal British Navy. This led to a military advancement of Britain. So with the population now, what is growing? Military is growing. Have you heard, British Royal Navy? And have you heard she was a naval supremacy country, a country known for naval supremacy? She is called the mother of naval supremacy. See, in medieval India, when you look at India, we have a kingdom called the Chola Empire. Rajaraja Chola. So when Cholas were dominating and ruling India, and by 1000 AD, let's approximately keep 1000 AD is the period of Rajaraja Chola. So at that point of time, he had two plans in his mind. One was local self-government, which is a precursor to our Panchayat Raj system. You'll be doing it. Number two, the second one was to establish a strong navy. And Cholas worked for that. With that only they started occupying the entire Southeast Asian nation. Cholas almost had the entire Southeast Asian nation under their control, but they didn't exploit anyone. So Cholas achieved these two. I'm talking about 1000 AD. When you look at 1000 AD at Britain was not a naval power in 1000 AD. When did a Magna Carta come? 1215 AD. I'm talking about 1000 AD, Rajaraja Chola. How was Britain? Britain was almost fourth in command because Persians were very good in navy. So it was Cholas, the Persians, then come what? Then comes the Greco-Romans. Have you heard the Spartans? Getting the Greeks. So because why? Water wars were there. So Britain at that point of time never engaged. But with modern world, with finding sea routes and being an island, don't you think she'll excel in navigation? When I come from a coastal town, I will know swimming, right? When you live near rivers, automatically you will know, are you getting, that's how our culture is. You will know. People who are coming from landlocked region, who's never seen a river or never seen an ocean, first time you take them to ocean, what will they do? Scared. And I put them inside the ocean. God bless. Are you getting? We'll not know. So your country, your geography plays a very important role for how you are. So this is what we call it as what? The biomes. You'll be studying your biomes. Where you come from, you take a cultural side of that only. You come from a hilly region, how will your character be? Are you getting? People have a very different character from the hilly region. Kashmir, Himachal, people coming from the desert, Thar. Are you getting resources? How are resources for them? People coming from an ocean region, people coming from a plain, Indo-Gangetic plain, the valley region. Don't you think all traits are different? Because why? Geography plays a very important role. That is why the base of history is geography. Why land? Why does Delhi not have good waters to drink? Geography. Why does Delhi get rain now? Geography. Get everything is geography. So why do only certain states get cyclone? Getting it, not all the states which are coastal towns. Geography. Getting everything. That's why I say geography is the base for history. Land. Then comes people. So when people, we are studying about people is history. And when a country has got the brain to use all of them. Well, I have lots of population, what will I do? I put them in the navy. I tell them, okay, Clive, you go there. Are you getting it? Okay, you're going to India. Come on, you all go. So directing all of them. That's why we've written here as what? British Empire. That's the reason I made you to write, because you should know how colonies also. And every in British colony, Asia, in Asia, when you look at a British colony, who would be more? The Brits would be more. The whites, have you heard the whites? We generally use the term. So the white population was more. Why? Because of this problem. And wherever they go, when they are in more, majority, if you look at them, not with the local population, but they try to control. Don't you think the control mechanism also will double? The army also will enter the colony. And when the army is coming to the colony, how will the native rulers feel? How will they feel? Insecure? Your sovereignty is lost. And gradually you give everything. And you surrender all your rights. That's subsidiary alliance. Have you heard? This is what happened with subsidiary alliance. Because the army was deployed. The viceroy, the governor generals became strong. British population was everywhere. You go to a market, you'll see only a Britisher there. Why? Because he doesn't have employment there. His employment is in India. Are you getting? It was like a small IFS then. Okay, go abroad and work there. So they all started doing that. So Britain was comfortably having her core population because she never wanted to lose her core population. Core population is for her development. The allied population is in the navy. Some population is in the army. Some population is in her colony. So she's dividing everything. And who's framing all of them? The parliament. As you said, the parliament frames all of them. So the king may be educated, may not be educated. But the parliament should be. So automatically, which is merit? Parliament is a body of what? Merit. Because the parliamentarians were not based on hereditary. Are you getting? Father being a king, son can become a king. Are you getting? Sons may be educated, may not be educated. A ruler may study, may not study. A ruler may be capable, may not be capable. But parliament should be. So, and all educated minds frame policy. So beautifully they've managed everything. That all comes with what? Resources and what? The minds, the knowledge, possession, what they have. The next point, number 5. Availability of coal and iron deposits. I told you these are revolutions in Indian history. Availability of iron and coal deposits. That's your heading. Under that, coal and iron mines were plenty in Britain. Availability of coal and iron deposits. Coal and iron mines, M-I-N-E-S, were plenty in Britain, which proved essential for the growth of IR. which proved essential for the growth of IR. The textile industries, comma, the locomotives, the textile industries, comma, the locomotives, comma, the steam-powered machines. The textile industries, comma, the locomotives and the steam-powered machines. Steam engine, steam-powered machines required coal. Yeah. So coal was also used, required coal, full stop. Coal was also used for smelting iron. Coal was also used for smelting, SMELTING. Coal was also used for smelting iron, coal was also required for smelting iron ore, which was a prerequisite. Coal was also used for smelting iron ore, which was a prerequisite. Britain had majority of coal mines. And coal became the cheapest form of energy. Britain had majority of coal mines and coal became the cheapest form of energy. She manufactured iron weapons. And increased her military strength further. She manufactured iron weapons and increased her military strength further. Full stop. Being addressed as a superpower. Of Europe. Decided to maintain it. Through her military campaigns. Britain was never a defeated country. All the wars she participated and supported. Continue, ma. She was never a defeated country. All the wars she participated and supported. Made her to maintain. All the wars she supported and participated made her to maintain her balance of power. And status quo at Europe. So she has to maintain. Imagine you take rank 1 in a test. Next test, you'll try to maintain it, or you'll say, I'll get rank 5, 8. You want to maintain it because you're 1. And don't you think success is fine? But maintain the success? Don't you think it's very difficult to always keep it there? Are you getting that? That's something very difficult. It's okay you get some other rank. So Britain was very ambitious, almost won all the battle, and she wanted to maintain that. And that's all a collective effort. And at times we have to take inspiration from Britain. When you read the British history in detail, at times they are inspiration. You'll get inspired because no country had got these kind of traits. Of course, we had a very different model. Our model was an Indian model, was Asian model. But her model was always on a right path, but with no ethics. Our model had lots of ethics inside. But she lacked ethics and moral values because why? Trade. I told you that 5 points. When they wake up, that's there. So this is about availability of coal. So iron, see when you look at India, I'm comparing it. When you look at India, when the Aryans entered India, they brought iron. They came with their iron and they fought all the battle. Gradually, when the Aryans settled in India, getting it, they started moving towards the eastward. So Aryans were here. If you look at India, Aryans initially were here only. Getting it? When they came from Central Asia, they were here only. So Tapta Sindhu, they were here. But gradually what happened, they started moving. When they started moving, they found iron ore deposits here. Chota Nagpur Plateau. The moment they started finding iron ore deposits here, we call this iron as a revolution. So the Aryans who settled here, they started to manufacture weapons. They started to make iron chariots, sword, dagger, shield, everything, coat, mail, helmet, all sorts of weapons were here only with the kings who were only in the eastern part of India. That is one of the reasons why Magadha was very powerful. Where is Magadha? Eastern part of India. So western Mahajanapathas were not that strong. Eastern kingdom, that's why Patliputra was a capital for many centuries. The capital of Magadha, Patliputra. Capital of Maurya, Patliputra. Capital of Guptas, Patliputra. Imagine how Patliputra was a capital for a very longer period. Because this entire Bengal, Bihar, Orissa, today's Jharkhand also. This hub was a very strong hub. Why? You have what? Iron deposits. Iron is a revolution. And there was Chota Nagpur Plateau. And I write short forms. And there was a king called Bimbisara. Getting it? He was the first one to use the maximum number of iron weapons in India. So when he had weapons, no one fought with him. The moment he had weapons, people were like, hey, iron weapon, no, I'll not fight with him. They're like, Bimbisara, thank you, love you. Are you getting it? So Bimbisara almost controlled everything. Why? Just because of what? Iron. That's what we say, he who has iron has control. He who has iron has military. He who has iron has political stability. Provided with all this, you need to have brain. That brain is the British Parliament for them. Here it may be. Have you heard Ajatasattu? He thrashed everyone so badly. Just because of what? The weapons, what they used during this period, unbelievable, growth. Unbelievable invention, ma. If you would have seen the movie Bahubali, have you seen the movie Bahubali? If you've not seen, don't go and watch and all. Are you getting? I'm just making you understand. There was a person called Ballal. Ballal will have one catapult in hand, like Kada. He'll have one catapult and he will throw it. It'll have a spring action and it'll go hit a person and come back to him. The same weapon Ajatasattu had. When I saw the movie first time, I was like, hey, Ajatasattu. Because I know, are you getting it? When Kattappa was there, I'm like, hey, this army. I was like, when Kattappa flies and jumps, I'm like, hey, this is Akbar's mechanism. The entire movie is based on Indian warfare. Are you a person who knows Indian history and Indian warfare only can make like this? Getting it? And the entire movie, I was like, hey, Muhammad bin Tughlaq. I was like, hey, Vakataka. I was like that, because we know how people fight and what happened. So that weapon, what Ballal had was our Indian weapon, the catapult. And the same Ballal had a chariot. Have you seen? The chariot with a mace, like a mixie, it'll roll. So no one can touch the chariot. He'll drive, you go near the chariot, it'll throw you. That chariot Ajatasattu had. So it's our chariot. It's our catapult. Like this, I can tell you lots of story. Imagine who all on earth will go near Ajatasattu. He'll say, come fight with me. Come, come, come. Hey, please come. Please come. You'll say what? Thank you, ma'am. Bye. Love you. Are you getting? You will not fight. So automatically, you'll become my ally. Are you getting it? Either you fight, I defeat you, I win. You're my enemy, I annex. The second thing is you become an ally. It's either what? You're scared of me. Military is something very important. Britain. So getting it, ma? Connect it. See, countries are all same. Geographies are different. Mentalities, humans, things alike. She fought in a different way. We fought in a different way. Our geography was different. Our culture was different. Her culture was different. Her geography was different. That's the only difference. Clear? Shall we go to the next point? Number 6. 6, right? Yeah. Colonialism. Under that, Britain was the mother of colonies. Britain was the mother of colonies. She possessed the maximum number of colonies. She was the mother of colonies and she possessed the maximum number of colonies, which amounted to how many? 300 plus overall. Kuti ones, tiny tots. Do you know Oceania? All the ocean islands, tiny, tiny one. It'll be only 2 kilometers. She'll call it as a colony. It's like Karol Bagh is a colony. Are you getting? Because there's no India at that point of time. The concept of India came later. Getting in? So we are counting that. We are not taking India as one. Mysore came under her, which means one. Punjab went to her, number 2. Are you getting it? So we are counting it like that. Whenever we say India, there's no India like how we have today. India is a mere geographical expression. So when did the concept of India come? India, like you, North India, South India, we are all in same entity after the revolt of 1857. And have you heard this, ma? Before independence, after we got independence, we were having 565 princely states. And imagine all these 565, the tiny, tiny ones, were all indirectly under her control only. Are you getting? So India itself was a small colonial hub for Britain. And she got everything everywhere. You have to think it like that. Don't put India as one. No, India is many. So getting it, and after revolt, it's 1857. Where are we? 1750. 7 years, Buxar Plassey is gonna come. Getting it, 64. Buxar happened. Are you getting it? And we became a colony. So gradually, with all the Anglo-Mysore War, the Maratha War, the Sikh War, the Nepal War, the Bhutan War, slowly she started taking us. And slowly she parceled us. She literally parceled it into small, small compartments, and all those were her colony. So that's why we say, we India, the petty, small, princely, independent, small states were a part of the British Empire. We use that term only. Only school you write, India was a colony of Britain. Only in school you write, because school kids, so we write. But now we are going on a very different level, understanding based. History should be based on understanding only, not factual. So that's why I keep on speaking lots, and I give you lots of examples so that you understand history in a broader purpose. So clear? So she had 300 plus. She had the mother of colonies. She had maximum number of colonies. Yeah. A proud statement which continued. Right, continue. A proud state, P-R-O-U-D. A proud statement which continued to be uttered. U-T-T-E-R-E-D. A proud statement which continued to be uttered for centuries. So a proud statement which continued to be uttered for centuries was. Put your double quotes, start your double quotes. What is that quote? The sun never sets in our empire. Close your quotes, underline. The sun never sets in the British Empire. If you take her side, it's our empire. When you take the opposite side, it's the sun never sets in the British Empire. Close your quotes. So a proud statement uttered by her for centuries was, the sun never sets in our empire. Our or their or her, according to the statement, you make it. Getting it? So this statement was in a way, continue ma. This statement or quote, this statement was in a way. This statement was in a way correct, and she maintained it. The statement was in a way correct, and she maintained it till the end of the modern world. She maintained it till the end of the modern world. Colonies provided her with ample resources. Colonies provided her with ample resources. A-M-P-L-E, plenty. Colonies provided her with ample resources and cheaper markets. Colonies provided her with ample resources and cheaper markets. Almost all the raw materials requested for IR, almost all the raw materials required for IR came from her colonies. Almost all the requirements for IR came from her colonies. She had two big colonies. America and India. Here we are clubbing it. She had two big colonies, America and India. Extreme east, extreme west. She had two big colonies. Continue. Colonialism for Britain. Colonialism for Britain. Colonialism for Britain was seen as a positive note. Colonialism for Britain was seen as a positive note, which made industrial revolution or IR to survive. Which made industrial revolution or IR to survive. Next point. Markets and world trade. Markets and world trade. That's a heading. Because this all is required. How will I go and sell my goods? I produce lots of machine, lots of goods. Where will I dump it? Market. And this is the time. If you study your economics, you will get Adam Smith. The concept of free trade policy is getting popular. We've already written that FTA. Free trade policy, FTP is coming. So that with countries, when you trade, make sure that your policies are free so that you can regulate your trade. Because what were the Arabs, Turks and Persians doing? No FT, free trade policy. You cross my country, pay tax. You cross the next road, you pay. Next one, you pay. So trade was not free. I have to pay lots. Which means what? The good will be cheaper. The amount I pay for travel will be double. So when the good reach India, it will be very expensive. If Arabs, generally there's I'll put it simple. There's a statement. I tell it in a funny way. I tell it in a funny way to make people understand. When we teach modern Indian history, what happened, how Europeans came. So when we start modern Indian history, I tell this in a funny way. If Arabs would have decreased the amount of pepper to the Europeans, modern India wouldn't have happened. If Arabs have decreased the amount of pepper, because all Indian pepper, Arab traders, Muslim traders, I told you the background, they'll all take Indian pepper. Our Indian pepper will go to Arabia. Europe wanted pepper. Why? During winters, pepper was a preservative. She wanted to preserve her meat for winters. So what happened? Pepper, no refrigerators and all. So to preserve meat, pepper was a good agent. So she wanted pepper. Where will Europe buy pepper from? From whom? Arab. Pepper was very cheap in India. Pepper will be in the ground. Are you getting it? And you take lots of pepper, 1 or 2 falls in the ground. Will you go run behind it? I have more. Come on, why should I run? We are not bothered because plenty of resources are there. But for there, 1 pepper ball was priced high. 1 pepper ball was priced high. So they used to take loads of pepper. So what happened? The trade activity was very, tiring. It was very difficult. So Arabs, they doubled the price of pepper. So what happened? You can't buy pepper in the Arabian market because it was very expensive. So what is Europe thinking? They're making a conference. We have to do something. Pepper is coming from India only. So what we'll do? We will find a sea voyage to India. That's why Vasco da Gama came to India. He met the Hindu king Zamorin. He signed a trade pact with the Raja of Calicut. He came to Calicut, Kozhikode. He came there. He signed a trade pact with Zamorin telling, now you will give pepper to me. Getting it? We will take pepper. Portuguese started selling pepper in Europe. And Portuguese selling pepper in Europe was cheaper than the Arab pepper. Now where will all go and buy pepper from? From whom? Portugal. Now Britain and Portuguese are enemies. If you are my enemy, I'll not talk to you. I'll not take something from you. So automatically what happened? I don't want to buy it from you. I don't want to get it from Arabia also. They're expensive. Why can't I go? Are you getting it? Why can't I? Now sea voyages are open. I need to just go. So now what happened? Now countries are knowing that India is a land. So don't you think that's what we say? Necessity is a mother. I want something, I do something. They all started coming to India. Follow the Portuguese, the Dutch came. Followed them, the Danes came. Then the Britishers came. The last one to enter India was French. So when they all came, what was actually the first element they traded with? Spices. They came to India only for spice, particularly trade. And the pepper, what they took from India was very cheap. They were able to fill the European markets. So can we say, now this will affect the Arabs? Of course, it affected the Middle East. So Middle East started fighting because everyone, but they couldn't do anything because why? With the growth of Industrial Revolution, with the age of discovery, Europe became stronger. Europe is getting stronger. What did we write in medieval world? Who became stronger? Middle East became strong. Arabs, Persian, Turks, without them you can't go anywhere. You can't trade anything. We Indians, we were in our own world. Khilji, Syed, Tughlaq, Lodi, we were in our own world. We never bothered. We were givers. Whoever came, we gave. We never went out. So culturally, worldwide also is having a shift. And education plays a very important role. Why? Because education makes your mind alert. Education gives you what? Exposure. Education, you learn things new. So that is also an adding advantage for them. The Islamic countries were not promoting education. Initially, when Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, when he entered with the socio-religious reform movement, education was not given importance. So all what happened? Congress was developing, Muslim League was not developing. Why? Educational backwardness. Why? Religion did not support it. So it's not, we are not blaming the religion, we are blaming the person who did it. Because why? That is why we always write a term, Islamic backwardness. Why? Because they were not giving importance to what? Education. In fact, they were giving importance for expansion. But Britain was very smart. Without education, you can't expand. Now you tell me who will win. You tell me why Britain was very strong, why Europe was very strong. Everything went and Protestantism, Catholicism is coming down. With the age of reason, they've separated God and man. God is a part, God is not everything. So when all these are slowly getting separated, man becomes rational. The rational element is increasing. So automatically what? Adam Smith is giving what? Free trade policy. And when a country is encouraging free trade policy, trade will double or cripple? Double, trade will double, so there'll always be demand. So that is what market. So yesterday someone asked me, where is the European market? Her market is Europe. Her market is India. Her market is America. All goods are moving there. So now I need ships. I need ships. I need boats. I need railway tracks, railway line. I need to communicate. I need telegraph. How will I talk to Lord Canning? How will I talk to Cornwallis? How will I speak to Hardinge? I need a communication system, right? So automatically, slowly they're making this 100 years is something called a what? A boom in Europe. So these played a very important role. World trade, because worldwide, and why do we write world trade? She dominated everyone. Getting it? Take down. Markets and world trade. You had a doubt, Ma? You raised your hand? No? Yeah. Under that. Britain almost traded with all countries of the world. Under this, Britain almost traded with all countries of the world. She gave access to other European countries. She gave access to other European countries. She gave access to other European countries for raw materials and finished goods. She gave access to other European countries for her raw materials and finished goods. Yeah. By 1700 AD, she developed herself in, by 1700 AD, she developed herself in shipbuilding. 1700, how do you pronounce it? 1700 AD. No, someone are getting doubt, because whenever I say 1200 AD, people here will say, ma'am, 1200 AD. Are you getting it? That's the problem in South we have. I always say 1200 AD, but in North people say 1200. So I hope you get it. So by 1700, we are touching it. She developed herself in shipbuilding, navigation. She developed herself in shipbuilding, navigation, inventions in small scientific areas, small elements in astronomy and all. Invention in small scientific areas and metallurgy. The other European countries were far behind. Many companies were established in Britain. Which paved way for global trade. many companies were established in Britain which paved way for world trade or global trade. Which paved way for world trade or global trade. The best example, write it. The best example is in 1600 AD. We are going much before. What company was established? The East India Company was established. In 1600 AD, the East India Company was established with its headquarters at London. So we're going 100 years before. In 1600 AD, your modern India, we call this company only. This company only came to India. Thomas Smith was actually the merchant adventurers. So he only established this. He was a trader. So it's a private company. It's not a public company. It's like Coca-Cola, a company. But coming to India to exploit. This company is the reason for our modern India syllabus. If it was not there, we would have had ancient, medieval or modern would have gone somewhere. So I always blame this company. Now you're getting people say, ma'am, what is this? I'm like, go talk to the company. Why did she come to the company? She came, she exploited, she did everything and she dominated everything. And finally the company was abolished after the revolt of 1857. So it started in 1600 till 1857. It was there. So that's your modern. I'm giving you some examples so that you understand. Even 100 years before, the company was established with its headquarters at London. This company had great powers. This company had great powers in India and controlled. This company had great powers in India and controlled the entire Asian market. And controlled the entire ancient market. Asian market, Ceylon, Malaysia, Burma, the company will be there also. Controlled the Asian market. The free trade policy further. Allowed Britain. The free trade policy further allowed Britain to enter into the world market. The free trade policy further allowed Britain to enter into the world market. The greater liberalization policy allowed Britain to enter into the world market. The greater liberalization policy of Britain, the greater liberalization policy allowed Britain to produce more. Allowed Britain to produce more and engage in, allowed Britain to produce more and engage in scientific discoveries. Produce more and engage in scientific discoveries. Her success in the world trade, and the demand for British goods. Her success in world trade and the demand for British goods made her to further improve and advance. Made her to further improve and advance industrial revolution. Made her to improve and advance industrial revolution. The next point, number 8. A wealthy nation. Yeah? We didn't write it, right? Rich nation, we didn't write it? No, no. Rich nation was naturally a wealthy nation. Yeah, under that. I told you everything is required for a revolution she had. Under that. Britain from the time of its origin. Britain from the time of its origin was a rich country. From the time of its origin was a rich country. She was naturally blessed with plenty of resources. she was naturally blessed with plenty of resources. And she acquired more resources. She was naturally blessed with plenty of resources and she acquired more from her colonies. Acquired more from her colonies. Yeah. Her land revenue policy and tax system. Her land revenue policy and tax system was conducive for her growth. People paid tax on time. Her land revenue policy and taxation system was conducive for condusive. It helped her, supported, was conducive for her growth, by which she always remained a wealthy nation. By which she always remained a wealthy nation. By which. So don't you think it's all kind of repetitive? You're repeating it again and again. She's blessed with natural. See, it's like, when you write an exam and answer. See, I'm a teacher teaching you, so I'm giving you all the points. It's not that you have to write exactly what I give. Adjust it accordingly. It should be like an elastic. Where to expand your elastic, where to put it down, you need to know. When you write wealthy, we put a point separately for wealthy. Ma'am, I don't want this point. You can add it to natural resources. Hope you're getting it. You can merge 2 points together. You can split even more. You can break 1 point here. You can write market separately. You can write world trade separately. There's no specific, it's not like a university exam. You have to write only this. Content should be the same. Content. One student will miss out this point. One student may write this point. Are you getting it, different? Because we all are different. But the story, the fact, why I are in Britain, the concept. My first paragraph might be your third paragraph. Your third paragraph might be his fifth paragraph. UPSC is not bothered about that. They're bothered about, is the student able to give what I ask? You give 10 points, she'll give 20 points. I may not give points, I write in paragraph. So don't have that doubt. Ma'am, how should I write? But make sure, I always tell this, you expand it accordingly. So that's why we're repeating it again and again. Wealthy nation. Don't you think at times it feels even bored? Wealthy nation, naturally rich, military nation, superpower, balance of power, status quo, coal, iron. Put all of them, one, throw it. Push the ball to the examiner. Here, catch it. It's his problem now to correct it. But the points are going to be the same. So address it accordingly. When I say 10 points, some will expand it and make it as 12. They'll make it as 15 also. So getting it. So next one. Yeah. We didn't write education, na? 8, yeah, 9. Education. Education. Education was priced high, under that. Education was priced high. And Britain always encouraged it. Education was priced high. And Britain always encouraged it. By 1700, she had the best form of education. By 1700, she had the best form of education in the world. Yeah, in the world. Stop there. I'll tell you a small story. Just listen. See, it's like today, what pattern of education we have, ma? What pattern today we do have? We have the London pattern of education only. See, India, we had a Gurukula pattern. Vedic time, Gurukula education, Guru Shishya Parampara, the ashrama system, we had it. Then gradually we had a Vidyas, we had a Pathshalas. When Islamic Islamic age entered India, we had the madrasas. Have you heard? The Islamic schools and colleges. Then we have the Bidar University. Are you getting it? We had the Jaunpur University. Have you heard the Takshila University? The Nalanda University? Vikramashila University. So university, India, our style was different. Our way of teaching was also different. A student-teacher relationship was very high. It was a very emotional bond. That is why whatever the teacher says, the student will say yes. Guru Shishya Parampara. And the student will never give a fee to the teacher. The fee would be service. And what will the teacher in return give? The teacher was like, like a parent. Because why? The Gurukula system, the kid lives for 12 years with the teacher, ashrama. So automatically a teacher and a student gets a relationship. This is our Indian model. And we sit down in the ground, the teacher will stand, have you heard? This is our education. So everything was oral. Our Indian education was oral. Are you getting everything? That's why we call Vedas as Shruti. Why Vedas are called Shruti? You hear. You hear. The teacher says something, you hear. Now you say something, I hear. Say for example, you come to LKG, I'll tell you, twinkle, twinkle, little star. You'll hear. Now I will tell you recite, you hear. This was our pattern. But later we started scripting. The teacher made us to write A, B, A for apple, A for ball. So this is our Indian pattern. Now this model was not appreciated by the Westerners. Particularly during the period of William Bentinck, Lord Macaulay was a law member. He introduced an education model, which means what was a model? The London model is entering India. For the first time, during Macaulay, there was a debate. Should English continue as a medium or should vernacular continue as a medium? That's called the Anglicist Oriental controversy. Getting there was a debate. Will English, are you getting many reformers wanted vernacular language to continue. Many reformers said, no, English should be continuing. But finally, who won the debate? English won the debate. And finally, what happened? We started the English model of education in India. That is called the London pattern. So this is coming somewhere around 1833 in India. Where are we? 1700. And I told you yesterday, Harvard School was established in 1636. 1686, Harvard College came. Harvard University. So what is it, London School? Every district to have a school. Macaulay said that. Now look at us. Our district has got a school. And how is our education divided? Primary education, secondary education. What is primary education? Class 1 to 5. No LKG, UKG, kindergarten and all. Leave it. That's all today. Today we have something called Montessori. Today we have ICSC, CBSC, matriculation, state board, something. Are you getting? Today we are in a very different pattern. And education is in the state list. Don't you think that's why every state has got a different education model? It's not in the union list. So that is why my education is different. Your education is different. Well, I studied in Tamil Nadu in a matriculation pattern. Might be you might have studied in a CBSC. Content is going to be the same, but the pattern and style is different. That's why today we all are hearing what I've studied, you might have not studied. Maybe my Tamil Nadu government might have kept something in the syllabus. We have Rajinikanth in our syllabus. Do you have Rajinikanth? No. Why? Because I'm from Tamil Nadu. He's the Talaiva there. Which means what? It's in the state list. Now you can't tell now why Rajinikanth is not there. Maybe you have whom? You have whom? Yeah, you have Sachin. Are you getting it? I don't have Sachin in my syllabus. So you understand why? That's polity. State list, union list, concurrent list. So now when Britishers entered, London model was established. That is why, many British schools started coming up. Now what happened? This London model had two setup. Primary education, secondary education. So you do that in your school. Then after your secondary education, 6 to class 10, you go to your college. That's called collegiate education. And once you go to a college is affiliated to a university. Like how we have today. Our pattern is only the pattern I'm telling you. But don't think, ma'am, it's like us only. We copy their pattern. And we have their pattern. So now these universities were established. And what were taught in school? In the school here in Britain, science was taught. Getting it? Philosophies were taught. Law was taught. Geography was taught. Navigation was taught. Astronomy was taught. So everyone will learn science. Science subjects were given more importance than humanities. Why? It is age of IR. So when you teach science, Greeks are studying philosophy. Romans are studying about what? Philosophy. Now you're studying about law of attraction. Are you getting Newton's law? All these are coming. Which one will be attracted more? Which one will be attracted more? Science will be attracted more. You're talking about gravity, physics, chemistry. I made you write yesterday. People are talking about physics. They're studying chemistry. They're studying botany. They're studying what? Geography. They're studying navigation. But still I study Socrates. Aristotle. Getting it? I'm not blaming them. But Greek's philosophy style is different. British study is different. So when two subjects are there, even today, in India, which subject is priced high? Science or arts? Every Indian parent want their kids to be doctor, engineer. These are the two eligible criteria, right? You come to Tamil Nadu, that's only there. Are you getting it? Don't you think every Indian parent? Some are blinking. Are you getting it? No. What is this? You have to react. Now all sitting like this. Anything happening? Are you getting it? So don't you think? Not all, some, majority, that's what is there. Okay, I'm taking my state. Because my state, I know what the engineer or doctor, science. Science is always priced high. Because according to us, you study science subjects, you're a intelligent. And I'm not intelligent because I've never studied science. Are you getting? I'm an arts teacher. I wasn't humanities person. I get, but today it is subjective. But generally the theory is what? Getting it? It's like only with science. So now Britain is getting attracted. Why? Because scientific things are coming up. So the London School, the London College, Harvard School, Harvard College, Harvard University, later the Oxford University, all are coming up and they're awarding degrees. Now what happened? An Italian is coming to Britain to study. A French is getting an admission in Oxford. A German is studying in Harvard. So all these, and when he goes back to his country, even today when people go abroad and study and come, how do we see them? I'm from Harvard. Example. Well, if I tell you, Kritika, I studied in Harvard, I'm from London School of Economics, I'll teach you economics. What will your belief system be? What will you think, ma? Say something, na? Intelligent is fine. I'm born intelligent. Are you getting? That's fine. But it's okay. What will you feel? Huh? Look at the kids. Too much money. Okay, leave that. Okay, I went on scholarship. Our Prime Minister sent me abroad to study. Now I'm coming and taking classes. What will you think? You'll think I'm a specialist. Automatically you'll get attracted towards me. And whatever I say will be a mantra for you. Because why? The seat where I come from determines me. Then, everything then. Are you getting? This is what is the, that's why we say alumni. Getting it? Why do we say alma mater? Why do we use all those terms? At times, the place where you come determines the quality of your education. So that is what Britain did. See how they taught in a very nice way so that everything comes consolidated. Now what happened on seeing this, everyone will start Napoleon Bonaparte. France never had a university. France had schools. They never had that collegiate pattern. The Louis Kings never allowed that. When Napoleon became the consul of France, the first thing Napoleon did was the Paris University was established in 1800, following the London School of Education. I'll be teaching you that with Napoleon. So exactly what London pattern had, Napoleon did that. Paris became a hub of education. Plus, Napoleon added some other subjects also. Law. Have you heard the code of Napoleon? Napoleonic code. Civil code, criminal code, civil procedure code, criminal procedure code, penal code, 5 code. Today, 23 countries of the world, today, 2023, 23 countries of the world are using Napoleonic code only. Imagine the power of Napoleon. So can we say Napoleon is alive still today? Is Napoleon relevant in today global politics? Yes. But you have to connect it. So where did Napoleon borrow education from? London. Where did we borrow? London. So imagine how the quality of London education would be. And imagine how will the products coming out of London school be. Getting it? Won't they be great inventors? That will be our next point. After education, the next point will be what? What will be our next point? Great inventor. Don't write it. The great inventors were born. I told you yesterday, John Kay, Samuel Crompton, Richard Arkwright, James Hargreaves, Elias Hove, James Watt, Morse, who invented telegraph, all were from this school. They all were great inventors. So education makes you to invent. These are the 10 points. You write these 10 points, your topic on why Industrial Revolution was born in Britain is complete. Getting it? This is your point. So just get an understanding and just make it accordingly. Clear? Shall we write? Yeah, take down. Once we complete this, our first subheading is over. So under that, education. We've written education was priced high and the London school. Yeah, under that just write. Liberal thinking was encouraged. Liberal thinking was encouraged. Thinking was encouraged, and a rational outlook. Liberal thinking was encouraged, and underline liberal thinking, and a rational outlook was the key for British education system. Rational outlook was the key. Underline rational outlook was a key for British education system. British education system. They encouraged scientific thinking. They encouraged scientific thinking. This intellectual shift, they encouraged scientific thinking. This intellectual shift made Britain highly receptive. This intellectual shift made Britain highly receptive. Many inventors and scientists were born. Many inventors and scientists were born by a proper guidance from their schools and colleges. Proper guidance from their schools and colleges. Yeah, continue. The William College, the Mary College, the Harvard School, the Oxford School, the Dartmouth William College, Mary College, the Harvard School, Oxford School, the Dartmouth College were all great centers of learning. Just some example. We are not going with the years, that's all too much of detail. The William College, Mary College, Harvard School, Oxford School, Dartmouth College were all great centers of learning. Great centers of learning. Getting it? Yeah, full stop. Next, last point. Number 10, great inventors. Great inventors. Education led to the development of scientific knowledge. Education led to the development of scientific knowledge. Almost all the inventors were born at Britain. Almost all the inventors were born at Britain. Inventors like John Kay, Samuel Crompton, just learn the name. So tomorrow I'll connect it with the years. James Hargreaves, Richard Arkwright. Don't mug up, just casually put them in your mind. Richard Arkwright, Elias Howe, that we have James Watt. Getting it? So inventors like John Kay, Samuel Crompton, James Hargreaves, Richard Arkwright, Elias Howe, and James Watt invented great machines and contributed to the growth of IR, Industrial Revolution. Invented great machines and contributed to the growth of IR. IR is Industrial Revolution. Contributed to the growth of Industrial Revolution. Their inventions were patented. Their inventions were patented. And the government supported them. And the government supported them and encouraged them. The government supported them and encouraged them to invent more. Government supported them and encouraged them to invent more. This gradually led to This gradually led to a revolution in the field of, which gradually led to a revolution in the field of cotton, power, transport, which led to a revolution in the field of cotton. Cotton industry, I told you that. Spinning, weaving, cotton, power, James Watt steam engine, transport and communication, which led to the development or revolution in the field of cotton, power, transport and communication sectors. Right, sectors, we'll complete it, sectors. Conclusion, thus, we are done with the points. Thus, these were the major reasons. Thus, these were the major reasons which made Britain, these were the major reasons which made Britain to start, the initial stage of IR, which made Britain to start the initial stage of IR, Industrial Revolution. She began to establish industries. She began to establish industries in almost all her cities. She began to establish industries in almost all her cities. Yeah, almost all her cities. Every city had an industry. Industrial laws entered, because when you have industry, industrial law, factory law, industrial laws entered, right? Industrial laws entered, which favored the workers. Industrial laws entered, which favored the workers and the laborers. Labor laws started coming. Industrial laws entered, which favored her workers and laborers. Yeah. With the beginning of IR, the European political system, with the beginning of IR, the European political system transformed. So she created a very big shift in the geopolitics of Europe. Clear, ma? That's it, we are done. Yeah. The geopolitical system, she transformed the geopolitical system of Europe. Ma, adjust it accordingly. Get the content. Get it. You stop me in between, I cut the flow. Yeah. You hope you're getting it? So we are done. How many pages? Why in Britain? How many pages? Huh? 5, 6. You have to cut short this into 1.5 page. So you know more. You have to write less. So know where to cut. Don't be repetitive. Know how to customize it. See the demand of the question and write. This will be your answer. You're gonna alter it accordingly to the demand and then write it. So clear? Yeah. So there are 2 announcements. Again, I repeat the first one again. If you write any answers, you want mentorship, you're stuck somewhere, you wanted some help, you can just go to the reception desk and meet Miss Anshul there. So feel free to talk to her. So she will guide you and she will help you. Number 1. Number 2, from Monday, our class timings are shifted. So next 1 week, Monday to Saturday, our class timings, my class timing with you, World History, is being shifted to 11 to 1:30. Getting just for 1 week because I have other assignments to complete. So the moment I complete them, then I will get back to you with the same timing. So Monday, I'll be seeing you at 11 o'clock at the another campus, 32 Pusa. I think there's another building. Don't give me this look. You all are giving me a look as if I'm going to take you somewhere to Tamil Nadu. Come on. It's close by. You cross the road, you walk. It's in the other campus. It's 32, the building number. So I'll be seeing you there by 11 to 1:30. World History classes will be there for the next 1 week only. So kindly just adjust so that we'll continue with our classes. Fine? So thank you. See you all Monday. Yeah. Yeah. Any doubts? In between. Yeah. That we'll do it with American Revolution.